Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend a little time with us today. Andy's at work right now. The kids wanted to go spend some time with Grandma for a little bit, for a couple of hours, and so I'm still busy in the kitchen. It's the time of year it is. So right now, I'm going to be making some zucchini bread, which we like to enjoy for dessert and for breakfast. Oh, it makes wonderful breakfast food, honestly. And I'm going to go ahead and make some cowboy candy. I went out yesterday evening and picked some of them jalapenos, and I believe I've got enough to make me a batch. So I wanted to show y'all how I did that. So let's get started. For zucchini bread, you're going to need 2 bowls. You're going to need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and you're also going to need your little bread pan. So what we're going to do first is get most of our dry ingredients mixed together. So we're going to start off with 1 3/4 cup of flour. Zucchini bread is so good with chocolate chips in it. I love to put chocolate chips in zucchini bread. 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. Some cinnamon. 1 1/2 teaspoons round about it. Half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to mix all that together. Put that off to the side. Now we're ready for our other ingredients. 2 eggs. A half a cup of grease. Now for this, you can use butter, you can use lard, you can use vegetable oil, whatever you normally use. And I'm gonna melt me a little lard here. We're also gonna need about 3/4 cup of brown sugar. That's gonna go in with our eggs. Combine together a little bit here while that lard's a cooling from melting. I love to make zucchini bread. I actually got the zucchini I'm using today off of those late zucchini you saw us plant a while back. We haven't had great luck with zucchini this year, but I've got plenty of squash, that's for sure. Now, let's pour in our grease. Now we're going to take our zucchini. I'm just going to use my little cheese grater here. And we're just going to grate about 2 cups of zucchini. I also, when I have excess zucchini coming in, I like to make up several loaves of zucchini bread. And I'll actually slice it after it cools and individually wrap it, put it in the freezer, and it actually keeps really well that way. That way, you know, Andy or the kids, all we've got to do is pull us out a slice, want it for breakfast or something, and warm it up. And it keeps good. Now, one thing when you're making zucchini bread, do not squeeze the moisture out of your zucchini. Most zucchini bread recipes are counting on that moisture to be there. So, just put it straight in there after you get it grated. A lot of people make that mistake and think you need to squeeze some of that moisture out, but don't do that. So we're going to put this into our egg and sugar mixture. Maybe a little more than 2 cups. Maybe I should measure it. Where'd my little measuring cup go? All right. So what I'll do with that, I might can just freeze that and have it for bread later, or either put it in the refrigerator and make more bread to freeze. I'm gonna throw us in a little vanilla flavor in here. And let's get all that mixed in. Now, we're going to slowly pour in our dry ingredients. And we want this mixed just until the flour's wet. After all the flour gets wet, stop mixing. All right, most of the flour is wet, so now we're going to add our chocolate chips. All right, we're going to add probably about a, I don't know, cup, something like that, of chocolate chips. There we go. We're going to gently fold those in there. We're going to just take our bread mixture, put it in our greased loaf pan. We're just going to even that out best we can here. Let's sprinkle us a few more chocolate chips over the top, because who doesn't love chocolate? Well, that was short and sweet, right? So now we're ready to stick this in the oven for about 50 minutes. One thing you do want to make sure of when you're making zucchini bread, all ovens are different. This is something I figured out. Like, all ovens are different. So make sure you're doing the toothpick test, especially on something like zucchini bread, because it may look done on the outside and feel done, and you get in the very center of it and it's still gooey. It's happened to me more times than not, actually. So I've learned my lesson. I always got to learn them the hard way for some reason, but it's how life is. So 50 minutes, around about it. Now, we also enjoy zucchini bread with walnuts in them. I think I've done them with pecans before. That's great too, but if you've never tried it with chocolate chips, it is, I don't know, the chocolate chips just go really good with it. All right, let me get all this cleaned up. We'll make us some cowboy candy. So for our cowboy candy, the first thing we're going to do is we got to get these jalapenos cut up. I'll de-seed some, and then some I'll just leave the seeds. That's all personal preference. I've also made this, if I didn't have enough jalapenos, I've made it with part banana peppers and part jalapenos. But I've got plenty of jalapenos today, so that's what we'll be doing. And if you've never had cowboy candy, aka candied jalapenos, they are so delicious. And, you know, I like to actually, they're really good, like just mixed in with canned corn. They're good that way. I eat them like with my chow chow and my beans. They make really good deviled eggs if you want a little heat in your deviled eggs. Look at all them jalapenos. I got my work cut out for me, y'all. All right, we're just gonna cut them up. And you know how jalapenos are. Sometimes they're extremely hot and sometimes there's like no heat. So I don't take any chances. I wear gloves. But you just cut them up in rings, not too thick. And this is the most time-consuming part of the whole thing, is getting these cut up. feeling my way through my peppers, but my zucchini bread, we need to check it. It looks good from the outside. Let's get us a toothpick. All right. That is so pretty. Look at that. So what we'll do now is we'll let that cool about 10 minutes in the pan, then we'll get it out on a plate and let it finish cooling the rest of the way. All right, I got all my jalapenos cut up. Let's get this zucchini bread on a plate. And pray it doesn't stick. I believe we're good. Oh yeah. Perfect, perfect. Boy, you talking about something smells good now. That right there smells fabulous. Set this over here out of the way. So now we're gonna make our brine for our cowboy candy. So we're gonna start off with a couple cups of apple cider vinegar. We're gonna do 6 cups of sugar. Remember, this is a candied recipe, so lots of sugar. Now, I've also done this recipe and do like half white sugar and half brown sugar. Turns out really good that way too. May do that today. We're going to go ahead and let that start heating up here. We're actually going to add in a half a teaspoon of turmeric, some garlic powder. There we go. And some pickling spice. That should be enough to give it some flavor. We're going to let this come up to a boil before we add our peppers into it. And you want to kind of keep it stirred because that sugar will kind of try to stick to the bottom. So, all right, we're up to a nice boil. So we're going to go ahead and slowly, I just lost one, surrendered. We're going to go ahead and pour in our peppers. Now we got to bring that up to a boil again. I'm hoping my peppers will cook down just a hair because I almost don't have enough of my mixture to cover it, like the syrup. We're just going to see. If I've got a little bit, if I've got a jar that don't have the mixture in it, I may just put those in there and eat them now. But anyways, yep, back up to a boil. We're going to keep a close eye on it and let it boil for about 5 minutes. You'll notice your peppers start to change colors, and that's what you want to see. Now you can see how our jalapenos have now turned to like a dark green instead of that bright green color. And Lord, don't stand over that steam because, my goodness, it'll take your breath. It'll smell up your house, that's for sure. The youngins better be glad they ain't here right now. So now we're going to spoon these jalapenos out into our jar. And cowboy candy is one of those things, like if I were to open a jar and try it today, I might be a little disappointed. But it gets better with age. Trust me on this. Like the older it gets, even if you let this set for a year, it does. It gets so good the older it gets. Let those jalapenos really take in that sugar and stuff. Yeah, buddy. All right, so now what we're gonna do is bring our mixture back up to a boil and put it in our jars. All right, we're up to a good boil, so let's get this stuff in our jars. Now, cowboy candy brine like this with a few peppers in it. If you missed that video from, oh my goodness, it's probably back in the spring, winter, something like that. Make the best pickled eggs. If you've never had cowboy candy pickled eggs, ooh my goodness, you don't know what you're missing. It is so good. Then you're going to want to water bath that for 10 minutes. And it's going to be done, y'all. Cowboy candy is very simple. It, like I said, the most time consuming part is just cutting up all those peppers. But it is so good. Like, I really suggest that if you like the least little bit of hot stuff, to definitely try some. Throw this in a water bath 10 minutes and I'm going to run get the kids. Well, it's time for supper. We're going to have some fresh green beans I went out to the garden and picked. Some stewed potatoes, and some Salisbury steak that I'm going to fry in some bacon grease. Now with Salisbury steak, all this is some crushed up crackers, some ground beef, a little bit of milk, and some seasoning. I just mix all that together in my ground beef there. Ain't nothing you got to get too technical with. Patty you out a burger here. Lay it in just some flour. And then you're just going to take that and lay it over here in your grease until it gets good and golden brown. After our patties are browned, we're not going to waste our grease here or our flour, but I'm going to cut my heat off for just a minute, and we're going to put this in the grease to make our gravy. And if we play it right, it'll be about the right ratio. For this gravy, we're going to use water. So I'm going to go ahead and pour me some water in there. You can use milk, you can use chicken broth. It is not going to take a ton, so I'm not going to open a jar of my chicken broth. But this is going to be our gravy for our Salisbury steak. A little wash your sister sauce. And this will smooth out in a little bit. Salt. And pepper. The gravy's real good with a bunch of pepper in it. And we're going to add just a tad more water. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put my steaks back in here while that cooks down and thickens up a little bit. It won't take that gravy but just a minute on that heat and it'll thicken up just fine. We're going to have leftover biscuits to go with the gravy because you know you can't have gravy without having biscuits. That's just how it is. It's the unspoken rule. For our stewed potatoes, we're going to do some butter. Let that melt in there. Kind of mash some of them up as you go. We're going to sprinkle just a little flour on our potatoes. Just a little. Just like that. We're going to stir that in. Yes, I'm using store-bought milk today. I'll start milking candy again soon because I miss it. Gonna let that cook just a hair longer till that thickens up kind of like a gravy and it'll be ready to eat. We've got biscuits. These are left over from last night. Salisbury steak and gravy, cream, the stewed potatoes that I make. That's like the creamy stewed potatoes. Fresh green beans.
It looks good. I love this stuff right here.
Well, there's your little gravy scoop if you want it.
Alright.
Did you work hard today?
Yeah. It's soaking wet.
Right. It's hot. Hot and humid.
It is. Well, supposedly we got a pile of rain coming.
Yeah, by the time y'all see this, I reckon it'll already be here, but...
By the time y'all see this, it may have already come and gone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll just see. From one extreme to the other, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. This may be too much rain at one time if it does what they're saying. We'll see, though.
See what it'll be.
Sometimes too much rain can be just as bad as...
Jelly, is that what you...
No, I'm going to put some gravy on.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes too much rain can be as bad as not enough rain. We'll see. Yeah, I figured I'd put me some gravy on it.
I believe I'm going to put some of my chow chow on the green beans. You going to try some yet?
Well, your chow chow?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anything. Those potatoes look good, don't they?
I think so. Even if I didn't.
It's cold in here.
So now we've come up to the cornfield, and this is the cornfield that's actually on Andy's daddy's land that's just a second from our other cornfield. But this is the one that has struggled so much on this top side. It's field corn.
Yeah, all of this top side right here, I'm about positive. Well, or I ain't about positive. I'm 100% positive. We're not going to really make anything off of it. Where we had that drought, the corn plant itself is looking better, but we've opened up a lot of the cobs and they didn't fill out, they don't look good. So you know what, instead of letting it stand here and dry and pretty much go to waste, we've been cutting it and taking it back to the cows and feeding. We come up here and cut this first row last night. It'll all be cow feed here. We'll just cut it while it's still green.
Well, it's going to be cow feed anyway, just in a different form.
Just in a different form. But this way, we're actually benefiting more from it, I think, because we're actually feeding the whole plant instead of just that cob.
Right.
So, anyways, we just been cutting a row at a time, or I think what we're going to do is cut a row at a time and throw it in the bed of the truck and take it back. I know one thing, it's much easier with this machete. See, I can actually tote it anyways. Probably pull the truck up if you want. Pull on up. Sounds like we got an electric truck. That's good.
You like that?
Yeah, it sounded like we had an electric truck. I had an electric car go by me today and it tripped me out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, what in the world? Like it come out of nowhere. I didn't even hear it. Another thing that's went on with this corn right here is the deer have broke, not all of it, but a lot of it, the deer have broke down where they hadn't messed with that in that other field out there. For some reason or another. I finally see one that's got a good looking ear on it. Right there. Yep. But I'm not going to leave it standing out there all by itself. I'm going to cut it.
Well, I think we should at least pull it off, see what it looks like.
It's got one on it. Look how long that thing is. It's a white one. I should have known it was a white one for as long as it was. That's actually a pretty ear.
Maybe this field will make more than we're giving it credit for.
Ah, maybe. So that one there's actually a pretty ear, but it's a shame that's the only pretty ear in the whole row. Or there was only 2 pretty ears in the whole row.
The rest of it don't even really have much corn on it.
The rest of it ain't got even got an ear on it. It struggled for too long.
I'm gonna pull the truck up again.
Okay.
It ain't gonna work this time.
Wouldn't roll that time, would it?
No, it didn't work that time.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I'd rather feed it like this than I had by the cob anyway.
Think so?
Yeah, cause you, like I said, we're getting used to the whole plant.
How many figs you reckon I got to pick?
How many what?
Figs?
Oh, it ain't a whole lot, but it's enough to make it worth picking. Before we go feed right here, or feed this to the cows, I want to show you something else that's happening to this corn. That I think it's crows. Where's that ear at?
Oh, did you find another one like that?
Yeah. Yeah, right there it is. Oh, that's one of them. That's not the other one I found though. Y'all see that? How the husk has been tore into? Now that, yeah, right there, they eat the ear, the kernels off of it. I think crows do that, but I'm not really sure.
We didn't have that trouble. We ain't never had nothing do that right there.
No, never. I've seen sweet corn done that way before, but it was crows, but we've never had a problem like that. But there's a lot, like all out in through there.
Well, it probably got so dry, everything was just hunting something to eat, I guess.
Right here's a good one. That one's tore all 2 pieces. Right there's one. But then look at this one. Look at that. I bet it is crows, because that one, the way it's laid out, the birds were able to just sit right there and peck away. But every year out through here's that way. Right there's one. Right there's one. There's some of that corn smut. It's all in here too. But yeah, that's something we've never had a problem with, but I'm pretty sure it is crows doing it. So if any of y'all know, let us know. But it's nothing we can do about it now. It's too late. But that's why I think we should try to be feeding as much of this up while we can while it's green. Because our other field ain't like that. And it's just right up there. So I don't know what in the world would be the difference. Y'all, I think the cows have already figured out what we got going on here. They were standing here waiting when we pulled in the driveway. This is really nice because these 3 steers here don't really have a lot of grass in there to eat anyways. That pasture's too small for that many cows. So this gives them something good and green to eat.
And the fat goat.
And the fat goat. The fat goat needs it, I'm telling you.
Poor little thing.
This right here is going to really help out on feeding them.
That's true.
Because we've been having to keep hay in this pasture, even though, not necessarily just because of that drought we had, but just simply because
There ain't enough grass.
there's not enough grass in there for them.
And that's our fault.
It is. This was an impulse buy
Yeah.
that I probably should have left alone. However, we're here. We're going to raise them out to the end.
Which ain't gonna be much longer.
It's not. Hopefully by the end of this year, they're ready.
Yep.
But they'll clean the ground. This morning when I come out, the ones they had from last night, there was just a few stalks left, and that was it. Well, I guess this right here is technically like I'm eating grass, because corn basically is grass.
True.
Hey, spin around real quick and show them how that's coming around.
Yeah, that's really growed right there. That's the late sweet corn, and that's a bunch of sunflowers.
Yep. If somebody asked why do we plant so many sunflowers, there's really no special reason.
We just like them.
We like to look at them. If you can catch them before all the birds eat the seeds, you know, they do supplement like chicken feed and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the chickens love to pick the heads of the sunflowers.
But there's no particular reason why. Sunflowers just make a good summertime crop to put in somewhere when you don't have anything else growing.
Right.
When you don't need that spot.
Let's go check the fig tree.
Okay. Oh man, there's a lot more on this side.
Yeah, there's a pile right here.
So
Are you gonna try one?
they just look like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, as long as they ain't got ants on it.
Okay. Is this the first time we've ever been able to actually get a crop of figs? Or have you had them in the past? If it has,
I've had them in the past, but I just picked them and ate them.
Is that one ripe or is that too gone?
No, as long as it ain't got ants on it, we're good at that, ain't we?
That's got a June bug on it. That's got ants on it. Ooh, that's rotten.
Oh, I love figs. They're so good. I mashed that one. I can't reach them. I'm getting attacked by the rosemary.
So if they're not ripe enough, is that a bad thing?
I'm really not sure. I'm not sure if they'll like finish ripening, like
everything else usually does.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Figs are interesting looking, ain't they?
Mm-hmm. You really should eat one.
I might. Just give me time.
Yeah, this is the most, we've definitely ever had at one time. You know, because there's getting ready to be a whole bunch more already.
Yeah, definitely.
Than what's here right now. It's kind of like those peaches. I can't pick them.
Cause you eat them all?
We'll just stand here and eat them. That's what happened the last time we had them. That's why I never made nothing out of them. I ate them all. The only bad thing about the figs, though, if you don't catch them, the ants will get them. See, the ants done got that one. I guess they smell that.
They don't got much of a shelf life once they turn right, do they?
Not out here, they don't. Guess what's on these?
June bugs.
June bugs.
Those right there will be right tomorrow.
I know.
There's a whole pile right there. It about gets too cold here for a fig.
Well, it's kind of like that peach tree. Some years you got them and some years you don't.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fruit year, that's for sure.
I'll wash them. Look over the dirty bucket.
You want to go pick your pears?
Yeah. We'll go
Alright.
do that.
So there is our peach tree that had all those peaches on it.
It looks so happy. I said, oh.
It does. It looks so much better. But look at this one. It's loaded with peaches too, but they're these little bitty mini things. They ain't ripe yet.
Yeah, they're not. But not all of them are as tiny as I thought they were.
No, but it's struggling to
Yeah.
hold itself up. We got another bowl. Uh-oh, we done broke a limb.
Yeah.
I missed that one. It's struggling.
Oh, it broke that
time.
one over there too, Andy.
Hey, I knew that. I
Oh.
seen that the other day. The
This
poor
one-
thing,
It breaks every time it ever has peaches on it.
all of them do. I guess you're supposed to pull peaches off of them, but we just don't ever do it.
Well, oh well.
And guys, we don't ever put much effort into pruning our peach trees either, in case you missed that pruning video.
Well, the peach trees, the pear tree.
We pruned everything down here in the orchard except for the peach trees, simply because we hardly ever get peaches because the frost always kills the blooms. We always have a late frost and it kills the blooms. So if you're wondering why our peach trees are in the shape they're in, it's because we just don't put the effort into pruning them the way they should be, because, I mean,
It ain't much sense in it.
yeah, we've had the peach trees now for 7 years and got peaches twice.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just one of those things. It'll be all right. It's a tree and it'll grow back if it breaks.
Tiger, these is bees flying around these things. You better
All right.
watch it. So I done picked 1 5-gallon bucket of pears, which y'all saw me working on the other day. And so I thought, what better way to spend a rainy few days than peeling pears?
That right there, the ants have done took over. Tiger, why you gotta catch all the bees?
I know, it's hornets and yellow jackets flying around here. She's trying to catch them. Which they'll still ripen. I mean, even if you pick them early, they'll.
There's some big ones hanging right up there.
Them wasn't ready the other day.
Look,
Yep. Oh yeah.
that one fell right in. That must not.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
oh!
That about knocked me in the head.
Boy, it is a big one. Look at that.
This little picker, that's the trick when it comes to picking this fruit. There's a good one that I knocked off here somewhere.
You don't know where it went.
No, I wasn't. I was looking up
Well.
when it fell.
It may just be sacrificed.
That's the one thing I am scared about is all this fruit just hanging on these trees. If that wind gets up and heavy rains, you know what it's going to look like.
I know.
But they're still too early to pick them. So, y'all, Megan the other day done some experimenting and made fried pear pies instead of fried apple pies. And let me tell you what,
They were just as good as a fried apple pie.
they are better than a fried apple pie. Them things are delicious. You really almost can't taste, like it doesn't even taste like pear. Well, you should be ready for a rainy day now.
Yep. But got almost a 5-gallon bucket full.
Yeah.
I believe if I shook it one more time, I may have it.
Probably would, but let's let them ripen up some more. And the rain ain't supposed to come in till later, so we can check it again tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds good. Hope you really enjoyed today's video. Hope you might have learned a little something. And anyways, y'all stay safe. And till we see y'all on the next one.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.